If this is not a clear example of privilege, I don't know what is. Roll a clip.
Good people, and welcome back again on another episode. How are you guys doing today? I really hope you all are doing great. And if you're joining for the very first time, thank you so much for tuning in. Please don't make this your last time, so smash the subscribe button and turn your bell notification on. Before I go ahead in today's video, I want to put a trigger warning out there. If you have been a victim of school shooting, because I know this is one thing that is common in the United States and a lot of people are victims of this incident. So just a trigger warning if you know things like this are going to trigger you, because this video or this conversation is literally about school shooting. So there is a video of a man that has been circulating on TikTok. This is a video of a man who explained why he decided to wake up one day and pick up a gun and go do that evil thing. The video he made about it sparked a lot of conversation about everything he said in that video. I am not going to be posting the exact video, but I have a creator who pointed and stitched to the part where he made the points that he was trying to let people to know as to the reason why he woke up one day, pick up his gun and go do that. So I am going to roll the clip first so you guys can get what he said, and then we can watch the stitches on how people are reacting to it. Because in the comment section there were some people showing him sympathy, there were some people saying, oh, you're so brave for speaking up, and a lot of people were confused as to why these people were saying he was brave to for speaking up. So I am just going to roll the clip. I think you guys are going to get more context as well from the stitches. So without wasting much time, let me just roll the video.
If this is not a clear example of privilege, I don't know what is. Roll a clip.
For those who don't know, I am a school shooter. I did 17 years in prison, and I have videos about it. I have a lot of videos where I try to address this issue so we can prevent other shootings, and I work with law enforcement about that also. But yes, so I had friends of mine who actually kept in touch with me while I was in prison, who visited me, and I had a lot of old classmates who I wasn't even friends with reach out to me since I came home, and especially since I've been on social media. There's been a lot of support. There's actually classmates and their family who are in the comment section of my video. You just don't realize it. There's also those who have reached out to me to share with me the trauma that they endured at my hands, the pain, the suffering, the anguish that they still feel to this day. And I'm open to it. I want to be helpful however I can. And if that includes people reaching out and sharing that pain, then by all means, I'm very open to it. And I'm also speaking at my hometown. There's a public forum where I've been invited to share my story and to answer questions, to hopefully provide help for parents, teachers, and law enforcement, as well as people who can maybe get some type of closure from what I've done to them.
What? What's crazy to me is how y'all villainize black people who participate in crimes of survival versus how y'all treat white people who literally commit crimes for absolutely no reason. There are black folks who are serving and served life sentences because of Ronald Reagan's war on drugs. But you want me to believe that someone who was a school shooter should be released from prison? And then y'all are making him out to be a hometown hero. This is sick. Not only have y'all released somebody who is clearly a danger to society back to public population, but y'all have also allowed him to get on this app and monetize off of being someone who is not safe to the public. And I just also want to say to all the friends that went and visited him and supported him, y'all deserve to be locked away as well. You know what I'm saying? Something is not right. The math is not mathing. I believe that y'all would have done the same thing had y'all had the opportunity to. And it's looking like his living situation is really nice. And this is all on the coattails of Clinton creating bills and laws that people cannot be paroled back to public housing. So there are black people who cannot be paroled back to their home. Are you serious? Meanwhile, he's living good? It's giving that he's the new poster child for privilege. And all y'all needed to do was just say that.
What did you guys think about that video? I decided not to post the full clip because I feel it would be too triggering and nobody even wants to hear that. Someone who did a school shooting is out there and calling on the parents who went through the trauma and the pain to come closer and come get the closure. Now I am so confused. What type of closure are you going to be getting from someone who literally went to a school and shoots the students there? What closure is he going to be able to give to them to relieve them of the pain and trauma that the incident puts them through? Because it's not mapping like this creator said. The math is not matching at all. I don't even know this is supposed to be a thing. Like, a school shooter calling on victims to come share their pain and him telling them the reason why he did that. It is sickening and so painful to hear. This sparked a conversation. People are reacting and calling him out. There were people even saying to all these people calling him heroes in the comment section, you all as well are dangers to the society. I am going to roll the clip of what people have to say about this man's video on telling people to come closer and come get closure for literally shooting their kids in school.
I am a school shooter. I did 17 years in prison.
So he's saying that he's open about being a school shooter because he wants to help prevent future school shootings by providing insight into his personal motivators at the time that he did this. He's pushing the narrative that the root cause of mass shootings is poor mental health rather than a lack of gun control and a lack of gun laws in this country compared to others. He can say all he wants that, oh, he was in such a dark place at the time and he felt like his life had no value and he didn't see the point and he just didn't care anymore, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, that would not have happened and he would not have been able to follow through with that crime if he did not have access to a gun. According to Statistica, handguns account for the vast majority of weapons used in mass shootings in the United States. Now, if we go over to Japan, a country with some of the least mass shootings in the world, handguns are completely outlawed. Even if you want to buy one of the other types of guns that are permitted, you have to undergo a mental health evaluation, and you have to provide the police with details of where the gun is going to be stored, and it has to be in a separate and locked compartment, away from children, obviously. This guy was only 16 when he brought a gun to school, and in any state in the United States, the absolute youngest you can be to legally purchase your own firearm is 18. It has happened time and time again in the United States where minors will get a hold of their household gun and, whether intentionally or unintentionally, harm themselves or another person with it. So it's honestly comical to me that this guy is branding himself as this reformed school shooter who's for the greater good and is working with law enforcement to try and prevent school shootings when he's not even acknowledging the root cause of the issue and is not even acknowledging the fact that he should have never had access to that weapon at 16 years old.
Any of my old classmates. Well, for those who don't know, I am a school shooter.
There are men and women who look like me, right? Who have spent all of their lives, the majority of their lives, in prison for non-violent offenses. But someone who looks like him only has to give the system 17 years for shooting up a school.
Well, for those who don't know, I am a school shooter. I did 17 years in
You know, in 2005, when I was 15 years old, I lost my brother Andre to gun violence. And since that time, 20 years later, I have lost a number of family members to gun violence. I've also had the opportunity through my advocacy to work with victims and survivors of gun violence. And I can't tell you how much of his video triggered the hell out of me. More than 30,000 people are killed every single year due to gun violence. 250,000 of them are injured due to gun violence. I have met students and parents and coworkers who have lost loved ones due to gun violence. And while I'm a firm believer that in order for us to develop solutions for change to solve this epidemic, we have to listen to victims and perpetrators of violence. That does not mean we have to platform perpetrators. That does not mean we have to elevate their voices to such a degree that the victims of that violence now have to be reminded of that person and the violence they inflicted on their communities and their families on social media. And the fact that this man has the audacity to feel like he is offering something to us, he is helping us, the larger community, figure out these solutions. There's so many ways in which he could have done that without getting onto TikTok to talk about it. I have never seen someone so blatantly unaware of how his very presence, his very story is triggering to so many people who have lost people and loved ones that they will never get back because of someone like him. Someone who allowed his own emotion, his own views to dictate what he did that day, that changed the course of lives forever. And even now, in this moment, he is still centering himself and his story before considering the implications of what that could mean to that family and to other people who have lost loved ones.
I actually stitched this video and did a full 10-minute thing, but for some reason it's not working, so I'm just going to upload the tail end here. His whole account infuriates me. This is a man who, back when he was 17 years old, brought a tool to a school with the intent of bringing harm. I actually watched his pin video and the whole explanation of this, and he was talking about on that day he decided to bring a weapon to school. He was feeling so low and so down about himself and honestly wanted to harm himself, but he did not want to do it alone. That was almost word for word what he said. He did not want to go through that shit alone. So he is mentally traumatized that his decision was to bring a weapon to school and traumatize an entire high school in New York. He describes when he first walked into the school, he did encounter a student. He did not attack the student. Of course, the student saw him, immediately took off running, and he just let him run and turned somewhere else. He saw two more people. They encountered him, obviously took off running. He did not touch them, and he went into a classroom, and they, of course, feared for their life. And I think he did not do anything to them. I guess he was scared, whatever, leaves the classroom. And it wasn't until a teacher, or I believe an assistant principal, wrestled him from behind. He still had his finger on the trigger, wrestled him from behind, got him down to the ground, and then he ended up firing a shot into the teacher's leg. That is why he served 17 years in prison, because nobody died. Nobody died. But to those three people you encountered in the hallway, to that classroom full of students and teachers that watched you with the weapon, basically thinking at that very moment, I am going to die. You have affected them for the rest of their life. And you served 17 years in prison, came out of prison, working with the police and talking to schools about mental health. I am so sorry. There is nothing nice I have to say about that man. Because if he looks like this, he cannot go school to school to talk about things that he did in the past. There are people that I believe he's Sikh, and it's either Indian, Middle Eastern, that wear the turban, wear all of that stuff. There are people like him to this day cannot go to New York to Ground Zero, not even to look at Ground Zero, just to walk past it without people looking at him some type of way. That transphobic IG comedian, Jess Hilarious, got a man like him removed from a flight because she was scared. And that was within the last, I want to say, like 10 years. That type of grace is not given to people like this. It's not given to black and brown people. It's only given to him. This man has 250,000 followers on TikTok. This man went into school with the goal in mind to wreak havoc and cause harm. And he has 250,000 followers on this app. And the fact that his name is John Seeking Peace, while everybody that encountered him back in 2004 probably has never known peace since then. It boggles my fucking mind. I'm sorry. It's like shit like this, you need to serve more time. I don't care. I don't care you were rehabilitated or whatever, because you have affected people's lives for the rest of their life. And of course, the video I stitched, I didn't fully watch it, but the video I stitched is people like, oh, did you ever talk to those students? Imagine being one of those students who remembers this man's face staring into the barrel of a gun back when you were 16, 17, 18 years old. And then him trying to come talk to you 20 plus years later. Are you serious? And then he has a video on his page right now because he works for a homeless shelter. And he was attacked by a homeless man who was black and attacked him with a sword and called him the white devil. So now he has a video on his page talking about racism towards white people. We're in the upside down. For a school shooter to come to this app after affecting a whole school members' lives for the rest of their life, to come on here and then talk about racism towards white people. I don't even. In 2004, I was in high school. I was a freshman in high school. I believe it was 2005 when on Valentine's Day, we had a student who had barely been in the school for 30 days. On Valentine's Day in the morning, I remember this vividly because I was in the cafeteria waiting for breakfast. There was stairs, and the stairs, all of a sudden you hear someone fall down the stairs. And then you see a police tackle this man. Then you see multiple other police officers coming with a tranquilizer gun. And we're like, what is going on? Then they grab something from him, throw it across the room. You know what they threw across the room? 2 samurai swords. And it turns out he had 2 samurai swords and 7 daggers. It was a regular day for me, about to have breakfast on Valentine's Day. Everyone has their balloons and all this stuff, and this man was walking around the school about to cause harm. Matter of fact, there is one person that he actually encountered and actually did slash the man. I remember him because I went to school. I've known that guy since 6th grade. He still has the scar deep on his chin. Imagine him trying to come and talk to me in 2023 about the harm that he caused. And somehow I'm supposed to be like, I forgive you. Imagine me opening this app and seeing that man's face with 250,000 followers and people in the comments being like, oh, y'all acting like he can't be rehabilitated and things like that. No, I don't. When I think of Sandy Hook and I think of Uvalde, I think of Columbine, I think of Virginia Tech, I think of all the different schools. The fact that I can't even count how many school shootings and possible attacks that has happened since 2004. Hell, since the beginning of this year, the beginning of 2023. And somehow I'm supposed to welcome this man. I'm supposed to welcome this man on this app with forgiveness and kindness. I have nothing educated to say. I have nothing forgiving to say. You have affected a whole lifetime of people that you saw for a split second with that weapon, because at that moment, they truly thought that that was going to be it for them. They probably still have PTSD from your situation. They probably are looking for exits everywhere they go. If it's too many people, they get anxious. I get anxious around way too many people. I can't be in crowds. When I think of Times Square at New Year's Eve, that shit gives me anxiety. And I never even truly met a man like that face to face. I was in the cafeteria when that guy was going to come down, when he was tackled. But it's just like, I'm sorry. 17 years is not long enough. I am not a prison abolitionist. I don't have anything academic to say. Shit like that, I am so sorry. If you are going to be free, I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to hear nothing you have to say. I don't want you working with the police. I don't want you working with the police. When I think of Uvalde and how those police people sat outside in the hallway And the actual tape they had to mute because of the screams of children. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. I have nothing nice to say to this man. 17 years is not long enough. The only reason you served 17 years was because nobody died. You should be in there for life. I said what I said. Y'all can argue in my comments. I really don't give a fuck. Why does he have a platform and why are y'all trying to excuse him? Him.
Let me know what you guys think about what they all said in the comment section. When I came across this video, I was so speechless. Like, I don't think any parent in their right sense who has been a victim, whose kids have been victims of school shooting, ever want to go closer to the people who do that to get closure. It's unnecessary because the closure is not going to bring back their kids. The closure is not going to erase the pain from the kids, from the parent. It's literally not going to do anything. So how does he think this conversation makes sense? And who are the people inviting him to come, talk about what he feels like to shoot schools, and him saying his mental health was one of the reasons why he wanted to shoot, and he did not even want to do it alone, so he needs some people to follow him, when there is literally a black man who was killed by another white man on the subway for literally having a mental breakdown. Nobody find an excuse for that man, but there is a closure. He's literally being invited to come speak. Please, let's have this conversation in the comment section. I would really like to hear what you guys think in the comment section. Thank you all so much for joining, and if you have not subscribed, please do so before you go and turn your bell notification on, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, and I love you guys.